So this is the second body paragraph covering the actions of mission control. All right, so the major problem or how this thing all started for Apollo 13 was mission controller Cy Lamborghese. He noticed that there was a low pressure reading on one of the Odyssey spacecraft, on the spacecraft with the crew. And he notified them and told one of the crew members to go and flip a switch to do a procedure known as the cyber start. This crew member's name was Jack Swigert. He went and did this procedure, and this procedure basically is like the heating and fanning of the oxygen tank. This is what it did, just circulated the air. When he did this, it caused a spark, and this spark caused one of the oxygen tanks to be damaged and caused another one of them to basically be blown up. So of course this wasn't good because it was their oxygen, this is all they had, and they only was left with a little bit just to get back here on Earth. But mission control realized that the reason this all happened was due to a manufacturing issue of one of the wires, since it was exposed to the oxygen and it made a spark. Alright, so their main priority, mission control's main priority, was just to get the crew back here, or to get them to complete their mission and get them back here safely. Spaceship experts and flight attendant controllers, or flight controllers, they came and all met together at the mission control headquarters, and they all exchanged ideas and ways to help the crew, to help them survive until they got back here. They improvised different ways that they could use materials around the spacecraft to either fix what had broken or to be as of like an alternative to whatever had broke, because a lot like the power and electricity and everything that was inside the Odyssey spacecraft of course wasn't working anymore. And just to mention, there were two parts to this spacecraft. There was the Odyssey and then there was the Aquarius. Odyssey was the major part. That's where the crew were going to spend most of their time in. And then the Aquarius was only for them to, when they returned back to Earth, they were going to switch into that one. So they stayed in the Odyssey until they got to the moon, and then they was to switch into Aquarius and they got back. However, in the Odyssey, a lot of stuff was broken because of the oxygen tank. So their power, electricity, water, and all that stuff went low. So yeah, their solution, mission control's solution, was to help them find ways to, still survive when this stuff was broken. One of these things that they happened to create and to notify the crew of was called a makeshift air purifier. Of course, when the oxygen tanks blew out, that meant there was going to be higher levels of carbon dioxide increase inside the cabin. So they made this air purifier, and they basically told the crew, to grab a plastic bag, which is like an everyday material, grab a plastic bag and put it on the CM, lithium hydroxide capsule. And basically the CM just stands for command module, and that was where the hydroxide was coming from. And then they had a hose connected to that, and then connected to a life support pack. Basically this allowed the air to circulate through it and allowed to keep carbon dioxide levels at a minimum, so it's not hazardous. So they came up with different ways to do this. They also told the crew how to, divide out their water and their, food and oxygen intake in order for them to have enough to make it back here safely, and of course, not dehydrated. Of course, they all did lose some weight, and they were somewhat dehydrated, but of course they were still alive because the mission control helped them, keep their food at a good divide. So the crew decided, the mission control, after they, helped the crew, divide out all their water and food and all that stuff, they was then able to develop a timeline and decide that, they would return back here in the Pacific Ocean. That would, get out from where they were at the time, and to getting back here quickest way and, as safely as possible was for them to land back in the Pacific Ocean. That was known as the splashdown. And then after that, they developed like a timeline of when they should come back and, when they should do certain things and that. So basically, mission controls, their main goal was just to get the crew back here safely, and that they did do, and that's really good. And my sources, I used two sources for this. The first one was by author Elizabeth Howell, and this was on the article titled Apollo 13 Facts About NASA Near Disaster, and this was on the space.com website. This article was published on August 23rd, 2012, and I retrieved it on November 22nd, 2015. And my second source was by author Charles Redmond. The article was titled Flight of Apollo 13, and it was on the Apollo 13 website and published on October 22nd, 2004. This was on the headquarters.nasa.government website.